The question is, when did you first realize that you were gifted?
Well, you see, it was my 11th birthday, and I got all these letters, you see. And so my parents got mad, and we drove to some far-out place. And then this giant guy busted down the door and said, "You're gifted, Chris." And that was it.
It was an important, defining moment in your life, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Never forget it. Josh, do you have anything to add? Do you remember when you first realized that you were a little different?
Well, it was a long and dark night. And the next day I woke up and my mom said, "Josh, you've been accepted into gifted classes." And I was like, "What's a gifted class?" Of course, this was way back in the day when I was, say, in kindergarten.
Zach, do you remember?
No. Close.
Barbeth, do you have any comments?
Kindergarten.
How do you remember that?
Because I was the only one allowed in my class to go to the library to get a book to read.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know many kindergartners that can read. Could you guys read when you were in kindergarten?
No, I could write my name.
You remember?
Really good. I could write my name really good.
How many of you could read when you were in kindergarten?
I don't remember.
Okay. How many of you, all right now, here's a good question. How many of you, because you probably had an advantage going into kindergarten already, how many of you went to a pre-K class, or you had like,
I went to kindergarten twice.
So you almost like had kindergarten before kindergarten.
I did too because I'm
Do you guys have pre-K?
Me too. I had to go to this daycare.
Hey, Daniel, here's a good question for you, because we've talked about this before. Siblings that are gifted. How many of you have brothers or sisters that...
My sister's not very good. My sister's not smart, but they're younger.
So how many of you over here? You guys have brothers or sisters that are gifted? Chris, I know you do.
Not me.
Easily distracted much.
Okay.
How many of you have parents that really put a lot of emphasis on making good grades, and you feel pressure from your parents to succeed? How many of you really... how many of you know that you're going to go to college? Okay. How many of you have ever been picked on or criticized or felt inferior because maybe of your gifted abilities? How many of you feel like gifted classes are important because they allow you to be yourself?
See, we all have straws, so we're all straws.
How many of you feel like maybe if you didn't have gifted classes, that maybe you would get bored with school?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
100% yes.
Okay, so give me some examples, some specific examples of how your regular class is different from your gifted class. Let's start with Laura Beth. How are they different?
In gifted classes, normally we have more work, but it's not just like busy work. It's work that like labs and stuff, and it actually makes us like, it lets us interact with it, like with the work, and it lets us understand more, and we get to work with partners. And if we don't understand something, then our partner can help us, or we can help our partner, and it's like you learn more.
Okay.
Because we have more ways to learn.
What else, Chris?
Because
What's a major difference?
Like the time 2 days ago, I got my work done early and made a chest set.
See? So you actually have more time in your other classes to work on things that you want to work on?
Yeah.
Is what you're saying? Okay. What difference do you see, Emma?
The other kids are all look at you weird when you finish test first and stuff, and the teachers think that you're not doing the work.
They think you're being like lazy?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. What else? Do you see any other differences in this class, these classes that you're taking that are gifted and regular
you can't
classes?
really express yourself in the other classes. I mean, like, you can say stuff, but, like, in gifted classes, you can, like, express yourself or, like, say weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and gifted, they your opinion is accepted. Well, it's not always accepted.
It's cool to be smart in gifted classes, but it might not necessarily be true the other way around.
In other classes, you dumb it down.
You dumb it down.
Yeah.
Really? How many of you hold back in other classes? Really?
Yeah.
Do you think that sometimes when people are know-it-alls that backfires?
Yeah.
Like if somebody is precocious, if they are condescending and they come across as being know-it-alls, that in middle school that's frowned upon, and you steer clear from acting like that because you want to be accepted, right? Okay. What's another difference between our classes? Let's just use math and science as an example, and probably what they're doing in other math and science classes. What do you think?
I know that in the regular classes we're a lot ahead of them.
We're ahead of them? Okay, what else?
There's more projects and fun activities.
Mm-hmm.
We enjoy learning more.
Yeah,
The kids just do it because they have to.
yeah, what else?
Mine goes along with what she was saying. They have to do it, and they dread doing it because they have such a boring way of doing it. And we're
Mhm.
such creative thinkers, so we have all these ways around it to make it fun learning.
Mm-hmm.
In their science classes, they take tests. In our science classes, we make videos.
That's right, we do. That's
We wear
right.
trench coats.
We do Tai Chi.
What else, Larbeth?
We do Tai Chi outside the window.
The teachers have to be gifted too, like you, because and all the other teachers. I'm not saying that they're not like cool or anything, but they have to be like gifted, and they have to understand kids and try to get on their their level of thinking and try to.
There are gifted teachers who don't really do a good job of
But I
teaching
mean, like,
gifted.
teachers like you.
But I'm saying, do you think that that's important that you find gifted teachers that can relate to gifted students?
Yeah.
And that you're kind of on the same wavelength?
My mom
Like
said she
you
wished
were-
you would go with me through high school, so I would have a
That's what my
one
mom
good
said.
teacher.
I'm gonna
that
cry
she
Because
would
I
work
understand,
with.
I've learned so much more than I did in sixth grade. And
Do you think
Yeah,
that? Do you think that there's a correlation between having an enjoyable classroom, enjoying you having a safe environment where you can say things and you can do things, and enjoying school and learning? Do you think you learn better if you're enjoying yourself?
Yeah, because if you're not having fun, then you don't want to
It's
do
not good when you
anything.
have
Because
gifted
if you get
teachers.
bored. just
But
don't wanna
you've
do
had
it.
other gifted teachers. I mean,
But they're boring and mean. Like I remember in third grade, like Miss Hensley, I loved her, but it's just like everything we did, it was just boring.
They don't think
I-
you should go faster. They think you're just.
I dropped out of gifted after third grade because I didn't like it, but then I wanted back in for middle school, and I love it now.
so you kind of
I was
how you
in
do
it.
kind of depends on the teacher a little bit.
Yeah.
My dad went and talked to the principal and tried to get me out of it. And the principal didn't want me out of it, but
Do you think that it's important to have a lot of different ways of learning
Yes.
in the classroom?
Because some ways could be easier to use, some could be harder, and you have to pick your own way to do things.
What's your suggestion for kids that they are learning something and they kind of struggle? Should it always be easy?
No.
You don't learn if everything's easy. You learn like if something's
If-
hard, then it gets.
if everything's easy, then it's not gifted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not challenging.
Spoken by
Like people think our
Leslie
class is easy,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
People think because we get done with stuff like so fast that it's like we all get it and we're like masterminds.
They think it's easy to us, but
Mhm.
we had to learn it at one point too.
Yeah.
It's like we didn't just skip over that. We actually.
We didn't just already know it.
Yeah.
We had to learn.
You had to really put
We
your
aren't
put
ninjas.
the effort into it. So how do you continue to make sure that you're on top of your game? I mean, through elementary school, you kind of stayed ahead of everybody. What if things get harder and you start to slip a little bit? How do you make sure that you're going to continue to be gifted all through high school and into college? What's your plan? What do you think you need to do? Do you think that things are always going to come naturally?
No. You have to practice and study, and if you have questions, make sure you ask them. Because I know sometimes I feel like I can't ask questions in the classroom. Like in here, I don't feel like that, but I feel like I can't ask questions because either the teacher will get mad and they'll feel like they already explained it. But it's like if they already explained it and I didn't understand it, I would need them to explain it again, like in a different way.
What do you guys think makes somebody gifted? Like there are some kids I know, when I give you those papers, feedback papers, and you tell me how much you've studied or what you did or why you think you missed problems, and there's some kids that don't study at all and they do really well. And then there's some kids that they put their heart and soul into it and they barely squeak by. So do you think that being gifted is only about how well they perform on tests? What are some different types of gifted?
It's a lot about your personality too.
Yeah.
We act a lot more different than the regular kids.
Okay. I would say that you guys are a little more mature, but then again, I don't know. Yeah. You're still kids.
Smart, mature.
I do think we have more
Common
social
sense.
skills.
Common, I think we think differently. Like our brain goes off at different times than others.
One of the things that stands out in my mind about you guys is you have a really, really good sense of humor. And we laugh a lot. We have a lot of funny jokes.
Because we know so much, we can use that.
We
whenever
play
we
pranks on the
do.
classroom
Take
next
all
to
these
us.
Yes.
chemistry
And see,
jokes
Yeah.
and bury them.
Like our bazinga on the wall.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
in normal classes, like some kids wouldn't get it because they're not all on the same level as gifted kids are.
We
Like
have
if you say
like
something
when-
funny, they'll be like,
It's always a
When
little
people that
different.
aren't gifted come in here, they like call us. They say we're really random.
they say
And
we're weird.
they're
Yeah.
weird.
Like-
They're kinda
But
scared, to
It
be
makes
honest.
complete sense to us.
Yeah.
I know.
Everything
I don't understand why they would think we were weird.
We're smart and they don't understand the things we say because we're smart and we're funny. So we put it together.
And we're
it's like
modest,
it's like a smunny or a fart.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
We're modest,
Like a
too.
fart smeller.
Yeah.
Smart fart smeller is a smart
Smart
feller.
feller.
That's right.
We smell farts. Yes.
4 bus changes today.
So all you're
61 is 40. 11 is
What was the
46.
question?
I don't remember.
Oh,
Random.
what we thought, what a gift.
Oh yeah. So no, here's something. Let's just wrap it up with this. What are some different ways that somebody can be gifted? What do you think?
Like, if they think outside the box.
Okay.
Because
think-
like some of they think they're gifted, but it's like they're not gifted.
So
Like,
gifted people think outside the box.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. What do you guys think?
Gifted people. Well, you can be gifted on different levels. You can be gifted in a certain subject only, or a certain talent, or if you just have the kind of mind that
Can you be
helps
physically
learn
gifted, like
faster.
dancers? Do you think dancers are gifted?
Yes.
That some people just pick up on stuff really easily.
Watch out for the quiet ones.
What about people who can play instruments and just pick up a different instrument and just figure it out, really quickly? Is that a gift?
Christopher.
Yeah.
Christopher plays
How many-
bassoon and percussion.
How many instruments do you play, Christopher?
Well, I played piano.
Uh-huh.
And I played bassoon. And I do a bit of trumpet, not too much, but still a bit.
I play
And I
chords.
do percussion and marching bands.
Yeah.
Woo, that's
Good.
a lot.
Yeah.
Play.
And when did you first start playing musical instruments?
Probably in 4th grade.
Yeah.
Piano.
And then you just picked it up really easily, huh?
Yes.
Do you think that there's a correlation between math and music?
Well, I guess the sound waveforms.
There is. You actually use a similar part of your brain for both. Isn't that interesting? That kids that do well in band usually are good mathematicians. Interesting. What else? What else?
Explains each.
What are some other ways that people can be gifted? Oops.
Definitely creative.
Creative? What do you mean? Like how? Creative how? Like drawing?
Drawing, inventing
And writing.
things.
Yes.
Creative thinkers.
We invented the way of, instead of doing tests, doing movies.
Yes.
That's what we learned.
So we show what we learned in a different way.
Yeah. And we have multiple ways of learning.
Yep.
We don't still be one like certain way.
Hey, we're talking about gifted learners. What's your idea of a gifted learner?
I don't know what that means.
That means that they can do things that other people can't. When you think of a gifted learner, what do you think of?
Like I know what games like she climbs up high stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be gifted. Okay, well, thanks, guys. That was enlightening. Thanks for all your help. See ya.
The game's a full.